now you have Micmacs, which is basically a sort of a quirky, and I use that word knowing all my problems with quirkiness, a quirky comedy about arms dealing in the manner of, therefore, I suppose in the tradition, broadly speaking, of Dr. Strangelove or of what's that Friedkin film which I quite like, Deal of the Century. So the story is there's a guy whose father is killed by a landmine. He ends up through bizarre collision of things. He ends up with a bullet in his head that can't be taken out, but he's fine. But so he's suffered at the hands of armaments. He falls in with a carnivalesque group of outsiders, which is very much a Genet thing. Carnivalesque group of outsiders, what they do is they pick up stuff and they turn it into new stuff and they make things, they're all sort of strange and outcast. And one of them is Remington Calculator, Slammer Girl, Elastic Girl, Tiny Pete, all these different characters. And he's then walking past these two massive buildings and he recognises the logo from the armaments which have caused him all his trouble. So they decide to wreak this very complex, very sort of strange revenge. And what then happens, as with so much of Genet's work, is that the plot unfolds like a Heath Robinson machine. I mean, there is a lot of Heath Robinson machinery in Micmacs anyway, but actually the way the plot works is like, something pulls down here and it has an effect here and then thing. You remember in Amelie? Remember Amelie?
Yes.
You remember in Amelie, there's that scene when it's a kind of everyone is making love at the same time, and somehow it's all represented by bed springs and things, and and it's quite a funny little scene, and it refers back to a scene earlier on in Delicatessen when it's like everything is tied together as a great big cronking machine with bits of string and strange rhythmic bouncings, and it's very funny and it's very kind of kooky, and it's in a way it's the essence of what it is that Genet does. Now, with Micmacs, the whole film is like that. I mean, the whole film is like watching it's like watching Mousetrap. You know the game of Mousetrap? You drop a ball down here and then a boot kicks the thing down and the bucket falls and the what's it happens. And it's shot with this very particular visual style. Which,
do you think everyone just skips the game and just does that?
Yeah, of course, because the game's completely boring, isn't it? You just put the thing together and it never quite works. There's always the bit with the boot doesn't do the...
Work.
Yeah, it doesn't...
Ball always goes off the road.
Yeah, plus the thing with the
good
the actual
flappy hand
Mousetrap.
action. Good flappy hand action.
The Mousetrap is actually hanging on that, on the pole, and it always falls off at the wrong moment. You throw the dice and it goes down the pole. Well, Micmacs is a little bit like that. And I know, because I was in a screening of it, that some people got a bit restless. I thought it was rather charming, and which I know for me in quirkiness isn't. It felt like Genet was back on form after a period in which I think he's been sort of slightly creatively lost. I thought it was funny. I liked the performances. I liked the fact that it was a film about armaments dealers, and despite the fact that he said that it's not a political film, it is a film in which the bad guys are the arms dealers and the good guys are the outcasts and all that sort of stuff. And from a visual point of view, I rather enjoyed it, and it had a carnivalesque quality in a good way, not a carnivalesque quality in a ramshackle you couldn't string two bits of this movie together coherently way. So I enjoyed it much more than I thought, and go with an open mind.